Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Gate Ruler video. Apologies for my setup, as you can see I'm still not at home. Let's get into the video. After thanking Sundial, my Simian level supporter, we're going to be talking about the new cards of the day, and this will be the first of these weekly wrap-ups. I will be doing these on Sundays, I believe is sort of my plan going forward, where I will recap all of the cards of the day we have had of the past week, which means I won't be discussing those in videos during the week. Outside of stream reveals, I will discuss in the stream video as and when those of course occur. Other than that, I will be doing them all in this video. In addition to the reveals, to make up for the fact that there will only be 3 new cards I'll be discussing today, there is also a dev letter to discuss, so a good amount of things to get through. So let's go ahead and get started with this first superior rare, and this is the second superior rare for your Imagine Front, so presumably the last. Draconid Dreadnought Fusei Ikazuchi. So this has cost reduction as you play it from your hand. Attributes first, Dragon Military. So this is, okay, you know, Draconid Dreadnought, very much in that whole sort of deck style. You know, the card that restands Draconid Dreadnoughts is probably going to be kind of good here. And of course, this card is very military themed, and we're going to come on to that. So cost reduction, as you play this from your hand, you may do DR4 military. If you do, you can pay a cost of 2 to play this. So right as I was like, oh, so it looks like they're all the same, they were not all the same. Nice job, idiot. This is a very intelligent cost reduction, I think, because it means that you, in order to even play this card, are either so heavily deck building around it, if you're not playing military, or you're already all in on the military strategy, that it sort of, you know, locks itself in that way just to even make the card playable. Yes, of course you can play this in Apprentice, in which case you can just slam it down, but again, as I've said many times, cost of 4 is heavy, and you won't even get the half the benefit of Mobile Fortress. So it is significantly worse in Apprentice, to make up for the fact that, of course, you won't need to deal with sort of quite as restrictive deck building conditions. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. As a 5/7/2, it is beefy. You know, 7 HP is big, 5 attack is nice, 2 strike is technically actually 3, because that bottom line of text that says all your military gain plus 1 strike. Let's read Mobile Fortress and then got a couple more things to say here. Once per turn, when it attacks, you may either special summon 1 military card of level 1 or lower from your hand, or choose 1 military card of level 1 or lower you have in play and ready it. So, of course, here, if you have anything with 2 strike, you know, swing with the thing for 3, swing with this for 3, swing with your ruler for 3, and you've got a new thing, swing with that for 3. So, you know, either you've got a new thing or you research other things. So this enables a 12 damage board in and of itself. Very much a game-ending scenario, unless your opponent can just deal with this. And of course, being 7 HP is going to make that a little bit difficult. Not being a level 3 means you're not, you know, so susceptible to giant killing. Really, I would expect we might see some counter-interruption resting, potentially. Expensive, or, you know, restrictive, perhaps, but you know, it definitely feels like once this card comes down, that if you've let it get to that stage, you might be screwed. Because I imagine even in the most military focused decks, it's not all military. So this is probably going to take until you're like 8-9 damage to consistently just go, okay, most of the time I can now just slam this down. And let's not forget, you know, DR4 means you're going to have to be very careful with your other DR costs. So I think this is a very powerful card, absolutely. There is no way this is not a powerful card. And from the preliminary testing some of my friends have done, yeah, you can do some real big boy damage with it. How strong is it going to be overall in the meta? Frankly, I have no idea. Though I do think the nice thing is you probably won't be playing 4 of this, so, you know, more budget. But yeah, a very, very, very solid card indeed, as it should be for a superior rare. Next is probably the worst card I'll be talking about, is Battalion Slinger Garson. So this is an Atlas military, level 3/4/4/2. Cost reduction, as you play this from your hand, you may banish 2 militaries from your grave. If you do, instead you pay a cost of 2. TD and OD, choose up to 1 Guns and Gold armament factory from your deck and put it into your field zone, and Hoover, when this card attacks, choose 1 enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. So of course, with the Guns and Gold, that will be 2, and you know, if you get more than that, it'll be 3, 4 potentially. So this is going to significantly increase your ability to spam Guns and Gold armory. If you can get 2 or 3 out, like, your stuff starts doing silly burn damage, which can get really, really difficult to deal with. So it is, of course, a very setup reliant deck. This is a piece that is going to help you set up. Of course, the downside here, that's going to mean you're probably going to have to be a 4 of for you to actually be able to really abuse. So that means either taking a lot of level space, or it's going to be a dead draw later on in the game. It's a 4/4/2. The stats are really not fantastic. On a level 2, even like at a cost of 2, 4/4/2 that searches G&G Armament Factory, it's not bad. And technically you are getting your level 3's value there. You're just sort of overpaying for a level 2, but you are deck thinning, but you're deck thinning a counter. So how good is that? Yes, that counter is going to benefit your game plan. So I don't know how good this card is, to be honest. I think it's just going to have to be experimented with. But I think it's pretty cool. And I'd like to see more searches for Guns and Gold Armament Factory, potentially at lower levels. So, I would have liked to... I would have preferred if this was lose a card from hand and then you pay it for 1. Then I would have been like, okay, this is pretty fucking good. In addition to that Banish 2, but yeah, there we go. Is what it is. I think this card is fine. And finally, for the cards, our most recently revealed one, which was of course today, is Yobako of the Demon Slaying 7-branched sword. Bit of a mouthful. This is a level 1 Yamajin Front Supernatural Warrior. So Warrior, of course, Warrior decks we know are going to be a specific Warrior theme, will be a thing next year, thanks to the first dev letter. We know Warrior synergizes with Genesis Summon, and we know Supernatural, of course, is its own thing, and is very much going to be more once we read this card. 4/2/2 stats are fine on level 1. Demon Slaying 7-branch sword. Standard action, DR5, pop a level 3 enemy unit. So, the nice thing here is it's very much not the main reason you want to play this card. It's just an option, right? Like, if your opponent slams down a Daru Mageddon, for example, you can just go, oh, okay, play Yobako, DR5, your Daru Mageddon's gone. Which is nice, and, just any sort of big 3. With how many big 3s there are in the format, especially with things like Genesis Summon and stuff running around, being able to just go, okay, pop, is really, really nice. And, I think at bare minimum, that's going to make this card a 2 of, at least in a lot of decks that are just going to be able to take advantage of that sort of free option for removal, especially ones which really don't care about their damage reversal costs at that point in time, which I think will be a reasonable number of decks. Then we have Enhanced Supernatural, and while it has at least 1 Supernatural amongst charges, you get Breakthrough, Defender, and Charge Shield. That's a whole lot of keywords, and that's a whole lot of value. So, you can, in drive decks, I can see this being really good. Play the level 0 Yobako, get your top check value, and then play this and enhance the other one. DR5, pop a level 3. You're vibing, man. I think this card is really, really solid. How good it will be, I think, will just be completely meta-dependent, because I think this is significantly worse than 4 Future Men's, or the Futuristic 4, I believe the localization is. Granted, that DR5 ability is really nice, but of course, double attack and charge shield on a 5/3/1 is really, really good. Though again, Breakthrough is really nice as well. So I think this is those 2 cards are good for very different reasons, and this is a very strong card. So that's it for the cards. Let's now have a look at this dev letter. So this was also dropped, without warning. The Gate Ruler Development Team letter number 2. So let's go ahead and read through it. Nice to meet you, all the fans who support us on a regular basis. I'm M, one of the game designers. In this development letter, we, the development team, will send out new product development concepts and secret stories about card production as content for users to enjoy Gate Ruler even more. Now, I will say, at the moment, we've had 1 a week. I doubt we'd get a weekly dev letter. That would be, above and beyond what, the best card games get. It'd be fantastic, but I don't even know they'd even really have that much to talk about on a consistent basis. I think if we got these once every month, that would be fine. I don't think anyone would complain about a monthly dev letter, but we'll see. Anyway, let's keep going. This time, the second time, they'll be talking about the development concept of Gate Ruler, about the ruler update, and about the ruler that will be implemented in the future. I would like to talk about these 3 points. So when they say in the future, they don't mean the ones in set 3, they are talking about next year. Which is very exciting. So development concept, and this is I've already read this, so this is actually really, really pretty exciting. Okay. Until now, in Gate Ruler, the development team designed the game with the concept of the game enjoying the frustration that is one step closer, i.e. In producing cards under the new system. So basically they were just saying we want close games. Now what they've said is by producing under this new system, this new sort of development team, they've analysed in detail the game design up to the second booster pack, developed with this concept. So basically they've looked at Ikeda's card design, and what seems to have been the case is Ikeda did set 1, set 2, he did set 3. Set 2 had released while he was almost done with set 3, and we all know how that set is done in Japan. It's done better here, and it's much better here. Obviously, we have the night update and all that sort of stuff. So generally, the experience for me, I'm loving set 2 format now because Dreamageddon's not as powerful and night is way better. But in Japan, it was a fucking disaster, catastrophe, for many reasons, which we'll go into here. And so they basically redid the whole set from scratch, set 3, and they brought in these new devs. And these are the devs who have taken over, is my understanding. Ikeda's gone, and these devs have now taken up as the primary devs. So, and what they found is a deck built with Yomajin Front and Wonderverse. We're using lots of events as the main focal point, with A1 Apprentice recorded the highest win percentage, i.e. they have said, okay, this Dreamageddon deck is the main thing. The majority factor that they're saying is Yobako, Aburuma, Danny continuously supply these event cards with OD. Dreamageddon continuously increases your number of drives. And then you have lots of defensive event cards such as Etherfield, Kami's, the level 0 counter reduced to 0, and what is Mistake? I'm not actually sure what Mistake is. Let's see what Mistake is, if it'll load. Yes, and the level 1 reduced to 0. So lots of your reduced to 0s, right? And it produces this extremely high level of consistency, especially for a drive-based deck. Especially for that. Even in general, it was ridiculously consistent, but for a drive deck, it was crazy. That exceeded this sort of level that players were comfortable with, like, oh, okay, I was, whatever. So, when you look at the night decks that make use of TD units like Alice and the Draconid dreadnoughts, it really deviates from the game design, and it's like they're basically going, it's just a step above Wizard, it's a step above everything else that they really had. And I agree with this. Like, for me, the selling point of Gate Ruler is the ruler system. The fact that we can essentially play completely different games on the same fundamental rules against each other. The idea that I can play the game I have so much fun playing, while you can play the game you have so much fun playing, and in an example here, that might be you're playing Apprentice and I'm playing Wizard. And under these mechanics and these fundamental rules, that whilst our mechanics are completely different, we're still doing the fundamental same thing, so we can play with each other. And I think that is by far the biggest attractive selling point. This is the reason I'm interested in the game. Beyond the great artwork and the lore and all that, this is what I'm here for, right? So they say, we want to realize this theme of fighting with different rules through diverse deck construction, self-expression, and game experiences. Therefore, in the third and subsequent developments, the realization of various tactics and strategies with diversity was set as the core development concept. So, limiting the strategy of A1 Apprentice centered on events such as issuing an errata for Danny Dreamageddon and designing cards that take excessive measures against set cards, they say this was possible. However, they didn't think it was the best solution to make Gate Rule a compelling game. And this is exactly what happened with Buddy Fight, where they printed these crazy cards, and Bushiroad's response was to print silver bullets. They're basically going here, we don't want to errata cards, we don't want to print silver bullets. So, they believe that with the diversity they are going to introduce, A1 Apprentice will not be as overpowered. In order to go beyond frustration that can be reached one step further and enable realization of various tactics and strategies, the third booster pack, Ace Participation, it's called Arrival of the Aces or something, Aces of the Cosmos Assemble, I think in English, with an awareness of bringing out these individuality and characteristics, they've decided to implement powerful level 4 units that will be the Aces. Of course, they do not just want to power creep, they would like to improve the game balance while adjusting the balance and examining the compatibility of various cards and strategies themselves and the CNC ability. So they're saying, we hope you'll enjoy using the set 3 cards, updating your various rulers, and seeing the new information. So I think this part is actually really, really good. And I think this is something that a lot of devs don't really acknowledge. They don't talk about like the meta. And whilst, they haven't gone the full stage and gone, we are really sorry, this was entirely our bad, we completely fucked up. Which would, of course, have been really crazy to see, and maybe not the best thing to see. From a Western perspective, I would have been like, yeah, that's fine. Maybe from a Japanese perspective, that would have been a massive faux pas. The fact they're acknowledging, they understand, they've shown an actual understanding of what the meta is and why it's frustrating, gives me a lot of confidence that Set 3 and Set 4 and beyond are going to improve the situation. Onto the ruler update. So they're saying with the development of set 3, they're going to talk about the Knight update. So now Knight has 4 cards in its starting hand, and this has been to expand your options at the start of the game. As someone who has spent the last few days playing only pretty much exclusively Knight decks with 4 card starting hands and experimenting with various different builds, let me tell you, even in just a set 2 card pool, this makes a colossal difference. So to the point where I am pissed off this was not how the game started. Like legitimately annoyed because it was such it just boggles the mind that it was such a simple change that would have actually made set 2 fine. So yeah, anyway, compared to A1 Apprentice that appeared at the same time, the conventional Knight was a ruler that could hold a hand and had many choices, but the Apprentice was able to play cards without paying the cost, and Knight wasn't able to take full advantage of its strength due to the limitations of summoning and energy. They also recognise that the Knight is far less unique than Wizard and Overlord, which are rulers with hand and energy. So with this update, they've created the only ruler with hand and energy that has a 4-card initial hand, and this emphasises the advantage of a ruler that can hold a hand and the number of choices, and differentiates it from a ruler that does not have a hand. For rulers other than Knight released this time, we'll make adjustments in the direction of developing each's individuality. From the 4th set, they will introduce cards that further bring out the individuality of the ruler. So the 2 main takeaways from this section are, 1, it seems like Knight will probably be the only ruler with a 4-card starting hand. Besides potentially Legion, I think they might also do that. But what I think does that does sort of confirm is the buffs that the other rulers are going to get are not going to be putting them up to the same hand size. They will be in other ways. And the way I can see that sort of panning out now is Wizard getting 3 card starting hand and the ability that you can only tap your ruler for energy on your opponent's turn going away. You will be able to use that ruler on your turn and your opponent's turn. And I think that would be more than enough individuality. Leaving the stats the same, leaving the untapped 2 the same, just guaranteeing you always have that 3 energy there from the ruler tap as an option. But also you have that 2 strike if needed, and still having all that energy there, and making sure you have a 3-card starting hand because 2 cards feels awful. I think would be good for Wizard. For Legion, I think they will add a legend, buff the hand size to at least 3, and potentially give us all 5 factions, and that would also really differentiate that as well. Anyway, that was the first thing. The second thing then is they're saying, basically from set 4, expect to see ruler-specific cards. I think that's sort of the takeaway here, and that's cool to see as well. I think that's sort of, we saw some of that already, but it's cool to see more. Finally, about rulers to be implemented in the future. In the first season, Dimensional Defense War Part 1, up to the 4th booster pack Shadow Breakers, scheduled to be released, all these rulers are based on A1 and K11 Knight, Apprentice and Knight. They are the fundamental building blocks. From the second season, set 5 onwards, they are going to keep defeat when your life reaches 0 or your deck reaches 0 as the same building blocks. However, besides that, they're like, that's the only thing we're going to keep the same. We're going to experiment, we're going to do other things, which I think is super cool, and I'm very excited to see where they go from this. And, again, I'm glad to see that they very clearly do have a plan for the future. So, what do you guys think of the dev letter? What do you guys think of the new cards? Let me know in the comment section down below. Personally, I continue to be extremely optimistic about the future of the game. Every single update I've seen from these new devs has been fantastic, and I'm very much looking forward to Thursday, as I'm recording, that is the 26th, I believe, where we will be getting a brand new ruler from set 3. There we go. That's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more Gateway Ruler content, and I will see you guys in the next one, which should be a top review. We've had some very fun ones indeed. See you then. Cheers.